to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Can you believe we are 2 weeks into 2024 already? I mean, honest to goodness. We're already going crazy, right? If you're listening in real time, we just held my first LuAnn University course, The Making of a Well-Designed Business workshop. If you were with me, I hope you enjoyed it. I know I loved it. I love sharing teaching from my experiences to help you get on track on your entrepreneurial journey. This is my happy place. You know, I have some insights and I know some things, but I definitely don't know it all, and I will never claim to. But this is exactly why I constantly surround myself with others who know more. Okay, whether they are on my team or in my circle, if I'm taking classes like you're taking, I just love knowing where to get the answers that I don't. And this is a big part of why I created LuAnn University. Classes are kicking off at the end of this month, January 2024, and it's not too late to register. If you made a commitment to educating yourself and bettering your business this year, then this is the place to start. We are offering 3-hour intensives as well as 5-week courses with the best and brightest instructors in the industry. We cover topics on process, system, storytelling, team building, sales, bookkeeping, and more. Okay? It's really the education that you don't get when you go to your design schools, your certificate programs, or if you come by your design education by the School of Hard Knocks. This is the business side, and I want you to make sure you know it. Okay, go to LuAnnUniversity.com to learn more. Now, if you listen to the show and you know me, you know that the Vincenz and I have a vacation home at the Jersey Shore. All right, it is actually, we live there half the week, and it's a great place for us to get away. But it isn't the only place we go, and we do plan vacations in other people's homes. All right, and even every year when I go to High Point, I stay in the same house that I rent year after year for High Point. Okay, I've stayed in this house for more than 6 years. And you know why? Because the owner goes above and beyond to provide a great experience, not just in the way the house is appointed, but the attention to detail in other areas as well. This year, she even stocked the cupboards with my LuAnn Inc. coffee mugs. Okay, there were like 8 of them in there when we opened up the cupboards that I must have left there the last time that I were bringing for a Power Talk Friday tour that we did. Okay, she helps us make great memories there with things like this. And the thing is, my point is, when I'm going away, I look for something different than my everyday. I want to be wowed, and I want to make sure that the experience is seamless. So you, as a designer, have you ever considered vacation rental design, right? As a viable niche for you? As the person who makes that experience an A+1 for the people who go to these different vacation rental homes? Well, today I'm joined by Ericka Saurit, Jessica Duce, and Jane Dagmi, the 3 masterminds behind the Vacation Rental Design Summit. It's happening for the second time this spring 2024 at High Point Market. Now, I might own a vacation home, but vacation rental design is nowhere near my area of expertise. So I am grateful that there are women like these in our corner that help us not only if we own a vacation rental that we want to rent out, but if we go to visit one, right? Now, I have spoken with Jane, who at the time was the editor-in-chief of Designers Today, but now she is the managing director of High Point by Design. And Jessica Duce is an interior designer and the founder of Vacation Rental Designers. She's also been on the show. So we will put the links to these episodes in the show notes for you. And then Jessica was also here more recently, episode 894, telling us about the first Vacation Rental Design Summit. So that has a little bit more information there, specifically about the summit that you might want to listen to after this episode. Now, today, I've got all three of these ladies with Ericka along. Ericka is an interior designer turned marketer. And today, they're going to help us understand what vacation rental design is, what type of designer it's best suited for, and the value it can bring to not only the vacation rental owners, the property managers, and your business as well. Okay, we're also going to be discussing what you can and expect to experience and learn at the upcoming Vacation Rental Design Summit at High Point this spring. All right, let's meet this powerhouse group of women, shall we? Hey, you guys, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business. I'm so happy to be with you three rock stars today.
Hey, it's Jane Dagmi, and I'm super happy to be with you too. Thank you.
Hey, it's Jessica, and I love being here. Thank you.
And Ericka Saurit, thanks for having us. Super excited for our conversation.
Yeah, me too. So you guys, we've been teasing out this topic a couple of times. I've talked with Jessica about it, talked with Jane about it. But you are the three, masterminds. You're the women that drive vacation rental design. And you've got your summit and, this philosophy and this opportunity for interior designers. And so it's the first time I have all three of you in the same spot at the same time. So this is going to be fun. But Jessica, I would love for you to start us off and tell us again, what is vacation rental design?
Okay, this is Jessica, and vacation rental design is not staging, it's not residential design. It is unique. You are taking into account the design components needed for an experience and a hospitality-driven home that people will want to come back to. At the same time, you're worried about the return on investment or the profitability for your owner, and you're also thinking about the needs of housekeeping. So it has a lot of layers, but it also has, in my opinion, some of the greatest rewards for a designer, for creativity, for a business model, maybe even potentially for their own business.
So when you say, it's so funny because I love all of the possibilities for rewards, but when you say creativity, is that specifically because people will allow you to design out of the box a little bit more when they're, only going to stay there themselves with their family once or twice a year and then they're renting it out? Is that where that comes from?
Yeah, I think so. And also because, we say stop the scroll. When you're going on vacation, you don't want to stay someplace that looks like your own home or your neighbor's house. You want to have a different experience when you're at these rentals. So, yeah, you get to be more creative.
I love it. I love it. It makes perfect sense, right? Something we could look at for a week is different than what we're going to look at every day of the year. So, Jane and Ericka, how do you guys, fit into this? I mean, Jess is a designer. Neither of you are designers. Like, what's the deal here?
Well, this is Jane, and I'll start this off. Well, first of all, I did study design,
Oh,
so
excuse me. Didn't mean to offend.
That's okay. I was on that track, and I do sort of have that empathy for designers. But when Jess brought the idea of the summit, saying that she's getting a lot of her colleagues asking her to coach them on vacation rental design, I was then an editor, still at Designers Today, and always loved doing stories on hospitality. That whole boutique hotel, like I want to do that. So many designers wanting to do that. It just interested me from the start. So as just a person who likes to travel and rent vacation rentals, and as an editor and storyteller, I was excited. And I kind of understood the creativity that Jess was talking about. So that's where I come from it. And then, of course, when she did pitch it to me, I already had started at High Point by Design. So the idea of bringing something amazing to High Point that was new was extremely exciting.
Yeah, this is one of your big missions in life, right? To bring all the goodness to High Point, not just for 1 week of the year, but to really have that resource used throughout the year, right?
And to make sure that new people are I guess, realizing that High Point's this resource that is available year round. So, we all know the thrill of market, and there's a totally different thrill when you get here off market, and it's just different. But as a vacation rental designer or other designer, you can really do well and get your business done here.
I love it. I love it. And Ericka, why you? Why are you in this mix? What is your skill set and what attracts
Multiple
you
things.
to this?
Hi, it's Ericka. So I am an interior designer. I worked for about
here I got
10 years
of you.
in interior design, commercial and residential, before transitioning to marketing about 10 years ago. And one of the roles I held over this 20-year career was at Airbnb. I sat in between the marketing team and this environments team. We designed all the spaces for all the offices, but I sat in between to help develop a product, a kind of tier of homes on Airbnb called Airbnb Plus. And my job was to create all of the guidelines and the standards for design for hosting to help host be better, not just better host, but have better properties so that they could elevate their listings and qualify for this Plus program that we were rolling out. And so I was training interior designers on, the protocol, how to kind of, get from a residential business model to what was very specific and very specialized and very niched, to design for short-term rentals or for vacation rentals. And so when I met Jane and Jessica and this idea was put forth, I think it was sort of a magical moment for all of us. We realized we each complement each other in very different ways and can bring together a huge passion for vacation rental design, but a huge passion to help designers up-level their businesses. And so that's where the summit evolved from. High Point felt like kind of another partner on our team, just because High Point's been doing Airbnb before Airbnb was doing Airbnb. Just there wasn't enough, as you know, and there still isn't enough hotels. Yeah, so it just felt like kind of like kismet, if that's the right word, for all of us to come together. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jessica, are you the mastermind between putting these two ladies on the team with you? I mean, it really is such an objectively blend of three superpowers, three different areas of the world, of the industry world, and the way you complement each other. It's nuts.
This is Jessica, and I would love to take the credit for that, but I can't, because really Jane is the reason the three of us are together. I pitched the idea to Jane, and then Jane said, I know exactly who we need to talk to. And then the magic happened.
Gotcha. Well, that's Jane, because Jane knows everybody, right?
Yeah, I think, and it's Jane again. I think, Jess, when you did bring me the idea, in fact, I think you were a little bit scared or something. You and I weren't that close then. And with the beauty of this, LuAnn, is, we're creating something new, right? And we're creating something that people find value in. And that's when you do something with purpose, it feels very purposeful. But the friendships and the respect that results from our collaboration is that's a gift that you're never really sure about when you hook up with people in a business sense. And I mean, we all love to be together. We can't wait. Ericka lives far. She spends half of her year in France or even more. We can't wait till she gets back on High Point soil. So it's been great.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, to me, that's like the you have an idea, whoever the you is, right, has an idea, and then all of a sudden, like I always say, oh, that lined up, and then that lined up, and then that lined up, and it's like, oh, we're onto something here. The universe is really tracking this with me, right? And it just seems like what happened for you guys, and I'm so happy for you. Really, it's awesome. So go ahead, Jess.
Well, this is Jess. I just wanted to say, LuAnn, you coached me early on to follow your gut. And the day that I got brave and pitched to Jane changed my life. So I just have to circle back that, you taught me that. Follow your gut.
Aw.
It happened.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I remember that. I remember you wrote me that note. And yeah, so that's awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you moved on it, because that's the thing. Any one person can be inspired to quote unquote take an action at any moment in time, but it's the taking of the action that is the key, right? Not just hearing and feeling the inspiration. You've got to move, and you have to move through fear often. And what, like something like this can always come of it. It's always it's so funny because it's like I just came across, oh my goodness, it was a quote. It's like a quote you always hear, you always know. And I can't remember who it was, but it was like, you fail at 100% of the chances you don't take. Like it's a done deal. Like, it's definitely not going to happen if I do it. And if I ask and Jane says you're out of your mind, well, all right, that sucks, but I can move on to somebody else, right? So love it, love it. So now get me a little bit into the niche of it. So like I said, we've mentioned on other podcast episodes, we'll link to those episodes, but the value for a designer and what kind of a designer is it right for? Because I got to believe that, isn't just like, hey, add this to your ladder of services, because it's a skill set. It's you're learning another language in design with different criteria. I mean, you have to have all your same level of criteria in design, but you're adding other layers and criteria to it. So who would you say, if I'm a designer listening, like, I'm a good fit to consider this, if what?
Is this question
Who
to
wants
me?
to take that?
Yeah.
That's a Jess. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. This is Jessica.
They claim to be designers, but they're not really going to talk about it now.
Well, this is a learned skill set. Completely agree, which is part of the magic of the summit, because we're going to teach you. But I don't want to say that you have to be this certain type of designer to do this. It's just really learning another way to look at your
Okay.
projects. And the other part I want to say, I've learned this actually from designers in our Verd Collective, is that this business of vacation rental design is feeding their residential business as well, and vice versa. Your residential clients are getting second homes, are curious about, STR curious, or vice versa. And so this business model feeds both. So I wouldn't say that you have to be a certain type of designer. You just have to be willing to understand and learn that there is a primary difference.
Okay. You have to take your word for it until they see it in action and learn it for themselves, that you're not just applying the design that you know and you're comfortable with to a vacation home. Just, you have to trust in that going in.
Yes. And I think one of the mistakes that designers make is, yes, there's design principles for hospitality or vacation rental design, but they forget the fact that this is actually a business that you're designing. And so that you really need to understand the principles of return on investment for your client to be a really good STR designer. I think that's a big part of it. And that can be achieved through design and the selections that you make. But there's no other form of design really that you're concerned about for the turnover and ROI for these designers. So does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, we've had yes, it does. And we've had conversation. I'm trying to think who it was that was a boutique commercial designer. And I remember them discussing, how at that level you do have to take into account, like, who is the client that this hotel or this entity is trying to attract, and what do they want, and all of that. But to your point, they're delivering it. Now the hotel has to convert on it, like, right, where you're working hand in hand, it seems like, with your vacation rental owner partners in developing the property so that their ROI is maximized, it sounds like to me.
Right. And I'm sure Erica and Jane could talk more about this, but we're actually, even with property managers, we're creating a design plan to attract a specific guest. So, like you've talked about in business, where what is your target client going to be? We're talking about what is our target guest and then designing for that.
Right. Right. You
Yeah,
guys
I'll
have
jump
thoughts
in.
on
This
that,
is
Ericka?
Ericka. So much of this it's so multi-pronged, right? It's not just residential design, it's not just hospitality design, it's understanding, you are in a very competitive world right now. Like vacation rental design, short-term rental design, there's so many options for people to choose from. The stays are longer, the shorter. Like um, there's a big marketing component of this. And one of the things we got into at the previous summit, as well as we're focusing on this summit, is to how do you really drill into specific topic areas that the designers need to know. Marketing, of course, is one, but branding is another, right? The home is branded toward a certain client or a certain guest who's going to be booking, but at the same time, the owner may have multiple properties. There may be a whole another marketing conversation or branding conversation that the designer needs to have with them. And the designer plays interference in all these ways in a way that they wouldn't typically on a residential or a commercial project. So we're educating around that as well, because a lot of designers don't understand that side of the work. They don't understand that side of the scope. And the more educated and the more
Right.
prepared they are, the better of value they can sell, the more they can sell design as a sales tool, right?
Right. Well, and what I want to make sure I heard clearly is when you're saying that this is a very competitive market now, what you meant is for the vacation rental owner. It's
Yes.
a very competitive, like they're competing with
That's right.
tons of eyeballs and who's going to pick their unit. Even if somebody is set on a particular location, like on the side of a mountain in Colorado, it's still which unit on the side of that mountain, let alone is it Vail or is it Jackson Hole or is it, Aspen, right? And so I hear what you're saying for you guys going out and educating the designers who are interested in this field on how you have to make sure that your end consumer understands that you're going to help them be allowed in that storm, like with elevated design and a specific point of view on that design. That's going to make, like, which one of you did you say, Jess, stop the scroll?
Yes.
Like, right? Like, oh, that's the house.
But can I add
right?
one more thing real quick? This is Ericka still, that it's not just stopping the scroll and getting the booking. It's making sure that the experience is consistent with the guest from stay to stay to stay, because another part of this that's so different is that from residential or commercial design is that, the booking, if it's on a marketplace platform or if it's, however it's been promoted to you, the guests are always looking at the reviews. They always are looking and drilling down into what other people say about it. So there's a consistency that has to be delivered within the design as well that ensures it stays booked.
Right. Yeah. And Jane, you wanted to add something?
Well, I was just thinking about how I remember staying overnight at a designer friend of mine, of her house, and like everything from, of course the bedding, but I wake up in the morning and I go into the cupboard and I pull down like this, gorgeous cup, to have my coffee. Like designers are real arbiters of taste. They curate lifestyles for their clients. They can curate vacations. Like their expertise goes beyond picking the furniture. And that there's, to Ericka's conversation about branding, there's just like a designer can really get into it beyond just picking out the furniture and create, more income that way. So just they're really curating that person's entire experience. That's a big responsibility and a one to really like accept and embrace if you're up for it,
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's the truth. You have a unique opportunity, and thinking about, like, I've owned a vacation rental home for years, and the market, where I'm at, it's like if I were in a much more competitive market, it'd be different. But where I'm at and where my house sits, it's not, like it's just, I don't know. When you got a view of the water, you just are like, there's 10,000 houses that are off, right? Like they're just not. There's certain people are gonna be like, view of the water, check, period, right? And then beyond that. But when I think about, like, when I have looked for in Paris, in Italy, in in Colorado for vacation homes that we've rented, it is it is a lot different than I'm going to go to the Jersey Shore. You know, I live at the shore. I live in Jersey. I know the shore. When you're going out of your box, to your point, it's the photographs. Does it feel right? What's the description of it? What are the reviews of it? And then this experience delivering, whether I will come back and say to my friends, yeah, go to that house in Italy. It was exceptional, right? Or that rental. So tell me about the summit. So the summit is coming up. Right now, you are in early bird registration if you're listening to the show in real time. Okay. We will put links in the show notes for the registration and all of that stuff in the landing page to tell you all about the summit. But what is it? It's a couple of days. And what are some of the kind of topics you do? Like, get us into the weeds on, like, give me some FOMO here. Like, I want to come. Why do I want to come?
Do you want to take this, Ericka? You want to start
Yeah,
with this?
I mean,
fill in?
okay, so I'll start it, and you can get it get us going. So obviously, it's in High Point. This is the perfect place because not only are you interacting with great brands that are already ready for you as a vacation rental designer with products and all the things, showroom experiences, but you're going to get to meet other designers doing the same thing, and you're going to get to like form a network and a community of people who are really, either figuring this out if they're new to it or they're pros. So you have this incredible chance to, use your community as a network and as a resource. That's really one of the top things for me. I mean, of course, we're planning incredible education. We have a whole new, well, not a whole new, but we have a new venue, which will allow us to have more breakout spaces and more intimate kind of smaller groups and roundtables. We just took a lot of the feedback from last year and amplified it and just really kind of built on the experience.
It's Jane, and I want to add, Ericka, so yes, we did an exit poll of the designers, for last summit. 94% said that they would come back to the next summit. So that was great. Okay. That made us feel really good because, you talked about a little bit about fear earlier when you start something new. And, when we had our first summit and we put it out there and, we had like 2 tickets sold, Ashley Grigg from High Point Market and High Point Market Authority is our partner in this. Ashley said to us at one of our bi-monthly Zooms, do you guys have an exit plan? If you don't sell enough tickets, do you have an exit plan? And I
sound like Nagara now.
we all went like, haywire after that. I mean, it was the worst feeling ever. I was like, because, Jess told me like, all these people are asking her, like, it's got to work. It's got to work. But the really cool thing, and Ericka said, yes, we're going back to Congdon Yards, which we knew from the start when guests came last year that they would love Congdon Yards because it's just this raw space where you can just dream and imagine. But we're taking it down to the 3rd floor, which of the factory, which has been done by Barber Spangled Design. It's very homey. It's very pretty. It's state-of-the-art technology, and it's actually smaller than last time. So kind of most people, I think, would go, oh, we had 200 people last time. We're going to double it, Well, we're not doubling it. In fact, we're getting a little bit more intimate and giving people what they ask for, which is deeper dives, smaller groups. And, High Point, we've got beautiful showrooms. We don't have like an incredible amount of theaters that can receive, 500 people comfortably.
Right.
Then where do you put them for lunch? So we're not, the city's improving and getting more spaces, but we're excited about this this venue this year, and we think people will feel very at home there. So
that's great. And what are some of the topics, Jessica, that you guys go into that you present to them? I mean, you talked a lot about having to understand the business side of it. So must be some of those topics that you share throughout the couple of days?
Yes, this is Jessica, and they asked for a deeper dive into like how to be more profitable or how to price or how to get your foot in the door and market yourself at what price. Like they really want more detailed information on, which I get. That's why we all do this, right? We're businesses. I get that. And we also want to educate them more on the partners that can help them in their business for more profitability. I know Ericka and Jane can talk more about the content, but from my perspective, I know that's what we were focusing on, was really how to make money and how to do the legwork and price it to make the money, because it's a very profitable business. And you and I've talked about this before. This is so different. You're not reselling a sofa and a chair to a residential client every couple of years. So once you've landed your clients, you have a
Right.
continual replenishable product moving forward. That's great.
Right. Yes. Yes. Right. Creating those relationships with those property owners. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ericka, you
it's
wanted to add
Erica.
something?
I would just say we really leaned into that when we were creating, the promotion for this year. We were our tagline is ordinary isn't going to work. Ordinary isn't profitable, right? We really want designers to see that, like, design is your biggest asset, right? It's a sales tool. It's the way you can kind of like get through talking to clients, talking to, investors, talking to realtors, and it's just mediocre isn't going to cut it anymore. So
And that's a good point. Do you, I know that through your collective, because that's an ongoing membership coaching situation, right? But either through that or through the summit, are you having topics? Because my brain would be like, I'm sold. I want to do this. But how do I meet those property managers? How do I meet those property owners? How do I break into it if I don't happen to own a condo or a townhouse or a home that's in a property setting like this? Like, so do you go into that and give designers ideas and sources on how to market and find leads?
So yeah, we are going to address that more during this summit. And one thing I wanted to say is we brought in a couple of extra people on our advisory panel for content, one of whom is a property manager, Tyann Marsink-Hammond. She's very popular in the STR world. She's known as the Queen of Touch Stay, which is a digital app, and Rena Norwood as well. Rena is a North Carolina-based designer who is creating this incredible venue right now. So we've got Rena, and then we've got Nikki Watson, who's one of the preeminent stagers, who's also doing vacation rental down in Dallas, to join this core team in creating content. And so, everybody's going to use their connections, and we're going to talk more about how do you meet investors, how do you get to who are the players, and how do you get to them?
Yeah, that's it. That's what my brain would be going. I'm like, okay, I'm in. How do I do it?
Right.
Set me up. Help me get set up for that first contact, right?
It was interesting last summit. And this is what hooked me on this one designer. I freaking loved it. Ola Swarn from Chicago, when she told me that she used Clubhouse, that she would, because there are a ton of STR vacation rental groups and realtor groups talking, and investor groups and real estate on Clubhouse. And she goes into those meetings, and
I didn't even know Clubhouse was still a thing.
Well,
it's still going on.
I'm with you, LuAnn. I mean, I don't listen anymore. I really don't. But yes, it's still a thing.
Wow, that's great.
And she pretty much, got amazing connections through that. So it's just really interesting when you talk to different designers in this world, how they're getting to the people.
Well, you know what I love about that? Because look, you can meet the one-off person like me that owns one house, but I don't need it redone that much. You know what I'm saying? I'm not turning it over, first of all, 52 weeks of the year, right? It's meeting the person that owns multiple, right? That's who you want to like, that man or woman that this is what they do, and they've got 10, 20, 30 of these things all over the country, right? Or all in one little development in, whatever vacation spot it is.
Right, or the property
yeah, the property manager
that runs
all of them.
hundreds in on the eastern shore of North Carolina.
Yeah. For a dozen different owners or 24 owners, but that's the property person that they say, go get me a this or go find me a that, right? Yeah. No, it's great. I love it. And you know me, I've told every one of you my pet peeve with vacation rental homes, and it's like, hopefully get a designer in there that knows, like, it's literally, and I have to repeat it every time because it makes me crazy. And I just have to tell every designer that goes into this to not do this. Don't have a house that sleeps 10 and 8 plates, 8 wine glasses, 8 forks, 8 bowls. It makes me crazy. It's absolutely lunacy. It's like, oh my God, I have 10 people here and we actually don't have 10 wine glasses. Like, stop. Right. Or I used one at 4:00 and now me and my daughters will have to do dishes at 8:00 for sunset cocktails. Like, yeah. Happens every time though. It happens every time. Service for 6 or service for 8 in a house that sleeps 8 or 10. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. Anyway. All right. So what else do we need to know about the summit that I haven't asked you? What's the structure of it? Is it 2 days, 1 day, 3 days? How do you guys do it? Ericka, is that a
I
you
will
question?
hand that over to Jane. She's got that top of mind. Yeah.
Oh, it's a Jane question. Okay.
So we're actually going a little bit longer this year. We're starting the festivities on Wednesday, April 10th. And last year we started with an opening night mixer, but we'll actually start with content that day, and our vendor gallery will open that morning. So we're kind of like treating Congdon Yards as our home. Designers can come. People can come and sort of hang out and talk to maybe people they met last year, and new people can come into the fold. And then we'll get going around noon on the first day. And then full day on Thursday back at Congdon Yards. And of course, it'll be a combination of presentations and breakouts, a few panels. And then Friday will be in High Point. And we're going to do our tours again, which people loved. They wanted more and more tours. And then we're also going to do a mentoring afternoon where people can make some dates with some of the speakers and bend their ear for a bit. So, and that's how we'll end it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. The tour part is important, right? Because Jessica, you've worked in vacation rental design for several years now. And I know from the conversations with you, it's important that the sources are the right sources too. It's got to be the performance, the price point, the delivery, even I remember you talking about points about, for replaceability. It can't be something that like they're changing the line every like they change, what I'm saying? Like you got to have some consistency there in the homes. Talk a little bit about that and the sources that you find for them and how you do your tour at High Point.
Well, that has really been one of the main reasons I got so excited about starting this process, because we need the brands to understand our needs are a little different. And so when we look at brands and i.e. tours, to your point, we are looking for those specific things. Like drop ship is huge for us. If you're not going to drop ship, how are you going to white glove all the way to the property? When I go onto your site, are you going to tell me live inventory? That's a big deal. I don't necessarily want to have to submit my request for what that item is and find out from my rep a week later that those aren't available. So we definitely have a different checklist. We understand the need for performance fabrics, but even I've been working with Norwalk Furniture lately, and they actually help me with sourcing furniture that has better performance, where guests will pull on the chair or pull on the sofa, so that we'll have less wear and tear on those areas. I mean, we're really trying to get into the nitty gritty and to identify these brands and create this long-term relationship so that they understand what this category of design needs.
I love it. It reminds me of when I interviewed Susan Ingalls. She used to be, I don't think she has the position any longer, but she was the Sustainable Furnishing Council executive director or something, right, Jane? And I remember that assemblage of preferred vendors reminds me of like if she talked about like on the Sustainable Furnishing Council, you can go on and see which vendors are involved in sustainability practices, and there's like 10 criteria. Maybe one company has got 2, but the next year they have 4, and you can see like they're going in that direction, or another company already has 8, in line. And so it's nice because, and also like with Deborah Rosenberg, who does vegandesign.org, it's like you guys are passionate about this and you are going and doing the legwork of finding the vendors that have this criteria that needs to happen for this particular niche. But then once you get it, It's you're sharing it with everybody who wants, they just like pass go to collect $200 and they're there, right? I have a question. It's a technical question because this is where when I'm not a designer, but then I think, well, maybe there's a new designer that doesn't know this answer. When you said live inventory versus having the rep let you know a week later, that's explainable, right? I get it. Like that means when it's there, it's there. It's not, I know that from fabric, right? But is it because does vacation rental design actually typically turn faster just like staging does, and we can't have something out? Because I feel like there's going to be occasions where somebody decides in May and the rental season is June, but isn't this mostly handled off season, and should it have that push for urgency, or is it just what did I miss in that? Why live inventory was critical or helpful? I shouldn't
Well,
say necessarily
sometimes it's
critical.
sometimes this is Jessica, and sometimes a refresh is determined by whatever damage or change has happened in a rental. So to your point, yes, we have a more structured refresh schedule. But sometimes things happen and you escalate that timeline. If the sofa got damaged or they've just had a lot of wear, it's not always a sad story of damage. Sometimes it's just, the wear and tear happened faster than you thought. So let's just rip off the Band-Aid and do everything
Yeah.
at once. Or they purchase a new property, and in their mind, when they buy a new property, it's 30 days. That's how fast they want to get it rented from the time they bought it, because their first payments are coming due and they need to show it on the market. So those are the things that escalate your timeline.
Yeah. Well, and also too, I didn't think about you're rented for the summer and somebody ruined something. And now on Saturday you got to turn that over and get it back in there, right? And so I could see if like somebody notifies you on Tuesday that something's damaged, you want to know now, not a week from now. You need it delivered by then, most of the time. That makes total sense. Jane, you wanted to add something to all of that?
No, I just raised my hand, but I raised it just in I'm moving, but no.
In like yes, go. That makes sense.
Yeah, no. I will add something actually. Jess, Jess does the insiders tour with High Point Market, but this past market, she said to me, "Hey, why don't we do a vacation rental tour? Like almost a whole day tour, because the tours that we've done at the summit, we did like 3 stops per designer. So we did a tour from 8:30 till about 3:00, and it was packed. I mean, every space was taken up, and they totally loved it. Right? I mean, their designers are hungry for that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, look, you're doing 2 of your favorite things. You're shopping for furniture with your friends. I mean, come on. I would have a good time and I wouldn't even pay attention to the furniture. You know what I mean? Like you're just doing it together, and that's what's so fun. And, one person sees something and you don't see it, but then they point it out to you, different than even visiting the showroom on your own, let alone the value of having your experience of saying, this is a trusted vendor. You can rely on this vendor. You can open an account here and know that you're going to get good service and good quality, right?
True.
Yeah. So is there anything about the summit that I've left out or that we need to make sure we include, or final thoughts on being a vacation rental designer?
I will say it's a smaller, more intimate space. So it's a smaller group. So if you're super interested, we hope to, see you soon, get into registration and join us.
Okay, so we're really hammering this.
The seats are limited because of the space is more intimate this year, and we're trying to make the connections and the more personal connections part of the experience.
Okay, I love it. All right, well, as this is on air, the card has been open for about a week, so don't hesitate, is what these ladies are saying. If this seems like something you're interested in, then get over to the website. Is it an easy website, or should I put it in show notes?
It's hpxd.org, and then you go to the Vacation Rental Design Summit tab.
Perfect. Any final thoughts that you guys want to add, Jessica, Jane, on top of Ericka's thought? Are we good? Because I'm happy if we want to. Good?
Yeah, we're good. I would just say, LuAnn, if you want to participate in the summit, let us know. As a host, as an owner, and the extraordinary
From getting
woman you
offered a
are.
business proposition on air. That's fun. That's interesting.
Will you have to edit that?
Yeah, I mean, let's hit record, stop, and talk. Oh, that's
We
awesome.
love you.
Thank you. You guys
We
are
do.
awesome. The feelings are
Thank you.
1,000% right back at you. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you for joining me today, you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
So, did this capture your attention? Are you interested in attending the Vacation Rental Design Summit? I think if you are considering adding this niche area to your ladder of services, or maybe starting an entire offshoot to your business, Vacation Rental Design, is the place that you got to go. You have to get to the summit. And there are plenty of times when bigger is better, but there are also many times when smaller, more intimate settings are more meaningful. And I agree with Ericka and Jessica and Jane. This is one of them because this summit is smaller. You will have access to one another, the speakers, and to these ladies in a way that will help you truly build relationships and begin that journey of learning from one another in a meaningful way. Kind of like we just did at LuAnn Live if you were there with us last November. Now, here's the thing, because it is smaller, it also means that if you don't get signed up now, you might miss it. And then you'll be sitting there thinking, oh, am I going to have to wing it for the next year while I try and niche my services into this? I don't know. All right. Now, if you're thinking about it or still thinking it over, let's pick the conversation apart a little bit and understand a little bit more about vacation rental design. Jessica told us that vacation rental design is not just staging. It's not residential design either. Ericka also told us that it isn't exactly the same as hospitality design either. It's nuanced. As the designer for vacation rental design, you have a few objectives that you must consider. You have to consider the experience of the end user, that vacationer, right? That's number one. Then you have to consider the needs of the housekeeping staff. That's number two, because they have to turn those units over fast. So it can't be labor intensive, right? And then finally and ultimately, you have to consider the profitability of the actual property owner. All right. These are three very specific objectives, and these ladies have figured out the path to achieving them. That's what's really cool about this. Now, this topic isn't necessarily new to the podcast. Tiffany Cassidy was here on episode 770 talking about her company and how she specializes in vacation rental design. We'll link that in the show notes. Another great episode is 868 with Jill Cole, an icon of the hospitality design industry. Now, I know we just said that it is exactly the same as hospitality design, but there is some crossover, at least from the perspectives of the conversation, okay? Because just like my guest today, Jill speaks to the importance of knowing and understanding who you're ultimately serving, right? We're not always talking about who's paying you. All right. So the vacation rental owner or property manager, right, might be that person you're working with or paying, but we definitely have to take into account that end user, the vacation rental guest. So designing for that specific guest is what Jill spoke about, that specific guest in that specific area, in that specific, region, locale or whatever. Okay. And that was really good. That episode was really good for those insights. Now, Ericka said, you, the designer, are playing interference in so many ways with this design niche. Much more than your typical residential or commercial design project. You are moving between the experience and the function, the visibility, the marketing, the branding, the profit, and the ROI, and other areas. It's fun and it can be super rewarding, but it's definitely a bigger scope and you have to be prepared for it. Now, if you've ever listened to my daughter Christy's podcast, The Inner Edit, she's always saying, but how? Okay? So, but how? Well, this is the how. You start exploring your options. You attend the Vacation Rental Design Summit and you learn the how from these women, from Ericka and Jessica and Jane, right? You learn from these women. These are experts in this niche. Vacation rentals have become an increasingly competitive market, and this could be your opportunity to get in on it, right? And really, create some profitability for yourself. Now, you know that we've discussed the importance of niching on the show many times. You know I'm a big believer in niching, but you also know I'm not a big believer in reinventing the wheel. Like, why figure it out by yourself when others have already figured it out? So if you're ready to sign up and you want more, go to the website at hpxd.org. Click on Vacation Rental Design Summit tab, all right? You can also follow them on Instagram at VRD Summit, all right? Now, I can't thank you ladies enough for coming on the podcast, sharing this information, sharing this new idea and income stream with us today. I think it's outstanding. Ericka, Jessica, and Jane, I appreciate you. I appreciate your expertise. I'm grateful to have you in my circle. And for you listening out there today, thank you for being in the circle. Totally love that you're here. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Niagara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNiagara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.